Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Secret Sauce of Selling podcast, the ultimate guide and sales gym to unlocking the secrets of successful selling. I'm your host, James Abraham. Today, I'm here with a very good friend and colleague, Brad Ferguson, and we're here to empower the best generation of sales professionals and business leaders the world has ever seen. And I'm super excited to be here with you guys today to share those insights, tactics, and strategies to help you take your sales performance and sales leadership game to the next level. Brad, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you for the invitation.
And today's topic is super, super important. And we're going to talk about closing and we're going to unpack that. And so Brad, could you give us just a really short brief about who you are and how you arrived to where you are today when it comes to helping sales professionals be the best they can be?
I was in the furniture business and on a flight from Phoenix to Seattle and opened up the USA Today and saw an ad that says board and a little bit of copy. And it was contact Sandler Sales Institute. And this is 1994. So we made the ad, had a conversation, talked to some people, and Sandler was thinking about opening up an office on the West Coast, specifically in Scottsdale. So the conversation went a little deeper than necessary. They came out here for a discovery day to learn about the franchise opportunity. Dave Matheson, our current CEO, led that discovery day. It was a full day. Within an hour, I knew this is what I wanted to do. Matheson and I connected. We've been good friends ever since. But this is what I wanted to do. In January, flew back to Baltimore for initial training and had the privilege of working with David Sandler himself. He passed away later that year, but this is what I wanted to do. And we've been doing this for 28 years, growing people, growing companies, helping people recruit mistake-free. And it's been a great journey.
That's awesome. And today's topic is closing sales. So tell us, when it comes to closing sales, what's really happening with regards to sales professionals? One of the things I like to ask salespeople is, could you name at least 5 closing techniques that you utilize throughout your process to reach, a decision? A lot of them look at me like deer in the headlights. And so, Brad, what does it really take to close deals the right way?
If you wait till the end to close a sale, you put yourself at a tremendous disadvantage. There's too much pressure on you, and there's too much pressure on the prospect. Closing starts in the beginning of the sale when you establish the agenda for what's going to happen during that sale. If you look at sports analogies, we're going to talk about ground rules. Sandler had a word or series of words for this concept. It's called the upfront contract, where you share with people what you're expecting the agenda of the meeting to be, what they may expect the agenda of the meeting to be, and what the possible outcome choices are when we get to the end. But those are agreed on up front before the meeting starts.
Yeah, the upfront contract. To me, it's so natural to do, and life is too short to do it any other way. But the majority of people out there doing business and business development and sales roles, and any entrepreneurs, anyone, they don't bother. They just jump into a discussion for some reason and find themselves, as you mentioned, under pressure.
If the traditional sales approach that I've seen for decades is where salespeople attempt to prove to the prospect either they need what I'm selling or what you asked for should come from me. So let me put everything on the table to prove to you that we have the right solution. The problem with that is people don't buy intellectually. It's not about proof. It's about understanding their compelling reasons for doing business, how it impacts that individual, why they want it, what happens if they don't get it, what happens if they do, and how they're going to feel about it. And you need to unlock between 3 and 5 different emotions, pain indicators, we call them, but you don't close on pain indicators. Pain indicator just opens the door. Now we go in and explore that whole concept to find out why on earth this person would have any interest in doing business with me.
Yeah, I agree. So they're rushing. They're going too fast. They're rushing to the end before beginning, and then at the end they say they well, what just happened. And so let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about the close, because everyone wants to learn how to close. I had prospects reach out to me. Oh, James, we need your help. I said, really? Why? He says, well, we're really good at everything we do. Really? They tell me that we're good at opening the door. We're good at building relationship. We're great at building value. It's just the closing part that isn't working for us as well as we would have hoped. So what's actually happening, Brad? Because they're showing up, throwing up, and bothering. Where do things? So for the listeners and the viewers, where should a salesperson know? What are the signs of a salesperson knowing, wait a second, this isn't working as well as it should? We're derailing here. So what are those signs that salespeople can start to look for to say, wait a second, we might want to relook at how we do things?
With the experience that I've had in this industry, and it's a wonderful industry, it boils down to two words. That's all it is. First word is hope. Second word is belief. That's sales. People will contact you, send you an email, call you, inquire on a website based on hope. They'll accept your phone call based on hope. They will sign an agreement, hand you money, pay you once you've reached belief. If people say things like, thank you very much, this has been so interesting, give us some time to think it over, they lack belief. Is there someone that you've worked with that we could call and talk to find out what their experience with you? They lack belief. Really, that's more money than we thought we'd have to spend on this thing? If they believed it would work, would not be an issue. So we have to stop and say, sounds to me like there's a little bit lacking of belief. Sounds to me like you haven't really gone through belief, let alone conviction. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, belief. I once had a prospect, and a coach of mine many years ago said to me, and said, my prospect's stuck. And my coach said to me, ask him if it's a belief problem. And I asked him, is it a belief problem? And he said to me, what do you mean? He says, well, look, you either, one, don't believe in me. Two, you don't believe in my company. Three, you don't believe in your people. Four, you don't believe in yourself.
Wow.
To make this work. Which is it?
Wow.
And he turned out to be a good client, and we worked together for many years. But also, I think for me, it was just realizing at that point that belief doesn't need to be a belief in myself, in me, the sales professional, the salesperson, but it could be also a belief problem the buyer has of himself. Will he use a product? Well, maybe I won't use a product so much. Or will he be able to get everyone in his organization on board with a change? And so I think that's super important. And I'm glad you're bringing it up, Brad, because I don't think this is the type of stuff that gets addressed enough.
When salespeople start moving through their sales process, their cycle, their selling approach, and we get pushback from a prospect, and the magical word is this thing called objections. I'm going to put an end to that for those that will believe what I'm going to share right now. And that prospects don't have objections. I don't look at objections as objections. I look at them as opinions. So they have an opinion right now that's yet to cross that threshold of belief. So with that opinion out there, and they throw it at me or deliver it to me, I'm not really sure what makes yours better. That's too much money. We need to talk to somebody else. Those are opinions. And you don't overcome somebody's opinion. This whole process of overcoming objections, they say this thing and you let them know that's not the case. They push back on this issue, you let them know that's not the case. How willing is a prospect to depart with their money. You just corrected them 3 times in the last 20 minutes. I think you're going to find out that the fact that they're going to offer you money, convey belief, pay you for what you offered, it's not there.
Yeah.
They completely lack that thing called belief. So if you're pushing back, you're creating conflict. And when I've overcome some objections or I've corrected them 3 times in the last 20 minutes, they're not going to be willing to hand me money for someone who's just created conflict telling me I'm wrong.
Yeah, I agree. And so, what is the best way to overcome an objection or an opinion?
We need to head those off early on when you anticipate them coming. Listen to your head, trust your gut. If you're inside saying, this is going a different way, this is not going how we wanted to, James, I don't know if it's the case here. I kind of get the feeling that you're a little reluctant to spend that kind of money to solve that issue. Any truth in that? Use intuition. And I know, hope I don't cross a line here, females in the sales world are actually better prepared than guys are because of this thing called intuition. They just read things that we don't. So use that innate talent. If it's inside, bring it to the outside, put it on the table, and talk about it. I kind of get the feeling you're not really bought into this and you still need to check out some other places. I kind of get the feeling that the timing might not be right. Any truth to that? And actually put it on the table. The closing piece
That's awesome.
is a summary of the steps that you learn as you interact with the prospect. You set an agreement for the goal of the meeting and what the possible outcomes are, which are 2. Let's do business, let's not. At the end of our time together today, would you be kind enough to let me know whether or not this is something you want to do? I don't get into the literal yes and no. It's too hard, it's too solid to do it. Next thing, uncover compelling reasons for that prospect to engage with you. And it's their reasons, not yours. Find out what those compelling reasons, and multiple, 3 to 5, we like to talk about. If those compelling reasons, find out the cost or the worth. Then find out what the prospect's willing to pay, accept. Some industries we're buying from them. Find out what they'd be willing to accept or pay for what you offer. Then figure out how they go about choosing whether or not to do business with you. The people involved, the steps involved, the time frame. And if I've identified compelling reasons, the dollar amount, and the people in the process, now I just summarize what I learned. And I'm going to take this to one closing question because that's all Master Sandler gave me almost 30 years ago. So, James, as I understand it, you need help with problem 1. You need to find a way to avoid this situation, and you need to find a way to get out of that dilemma that you told me is frustrating the hell out of you. It's something you desperately need. Did I get that right? I think you said that overall this is costing you probably $20,000 to $30,000 a month. Annually, you said about $350,000. You also told me you'd be willing to spend, if you believed in it, $40,000 to $50,000 to fix it. And you and Michael and William were involved in choosing whether or not to do this. So when I come back with my solution to fix problem 1, situation 2, and this third dilemma, for that $30,000 to $40,000 problem, the 2 of you look at it, you review it, but you don't like it. What happens then? I always go negative there. I put it all together and say you don't like it. And it usually shocks them, like, wait a minute, this is going so smooth. Because the old sales training business was, if I could show you a way, would you buy today? So this thing's coming right to them, and I say you don't like it, what happens? We won't buy it. Okay, makes sense. I wouldn't either. So let's pretend we fixed 1, 2, 3, $30,000 to $40,000. The two of you look at it, you love it, it's perfect. What happens then? Okay, so what would you like me to do next? It's just so simple. The other approach, same outcome. James, based on the conversation we've had today and the question and answer we shared, do you think I understand your problems? Keyword think. Yes, he does. Second, based on the conversation and the question and answer we've offered, do you believe I can help? Okay. Can I ask you a tough question? Do you want my help? If they say no here, you messed it up earlier and you already know this isn't going to happen. If they say, yes, I believe you can help, and this has got about 4 O's in it, so take it with a grain. So, what would you like me to do next? And the answer to what would you like me to do next is what you agreed on back in the upfront contract were the two outcomes of whether or not we want to do business. Anything other than that, well, we still need to talk to, or I got to think about it. We had two I'm confused. In the beginning, we said one of two outcomes. That's not one of them. I'm going to go with the one that we're going to pass.
Yeah. So you're strong on your negative reverse. You're strong on your strip lining there. Always making sure that you have that well prepared so that you can lean on that negative side as necessary.
It's worked so well for years. So quick little story. 6 years ago, and my daughter and I love to go to the horse races. We're at Del Mar, nice racetrack in Southern California. And a horse that we were watching, because the jockey is a friend of ours, won a race called the Bob Hope Stakes. Horse's name was Mastery. Sophia, my daughter, says to me, I want to get my picture taken in the winner's circle with Mastery and Mike. Wait a minute. There's 80,000 people. This is totally bound by security. There is no way you're going to get there. So very quickly, we got down to the rail where the owners were coming out from the clubhouse to go get the picture taken. And Bob Baffert, the white-haired trainer, fairly famous, good at what he does, wife Jill walked near us. And I said to Sophia, go tell Jill you've never been in the winner's circle. And she walked over and said, never been. I said, Sophia, you can't say that to people. People like you and I never get to go in the winner's circle. And Jill said, the heck with that. She can stand right next to our son, Bodie, and took him out to the winner's circle. And there's the picture. When you deny someone's position, they will defend it for you. The very difficult part about negative reverse selling, I give you two. It's not a takeaway, which happens to be like a one move thing to get people to change. But the other thing, and you have talked about this in the past, tonality is extremely important. If I say to somebody, and you probably shouldn't, my tonality tails down at the end. If I say, you probably shouldn't, when it tails up, now it's sarcasm. There's a huge difference between negative reverse selling, the concept Sandler gave us, and sarcasm. It's all based on tonality. It's that slight of an edge.
Yeah, don't be negative, go negative. And it reminds me of I spoke to one of our colleagues in Florida the other day, and he told me that he works with a company that they build swimming pools. And he says, never underestimate a company that sells swimming pools. And one of the way they really want to verify with their clients that this is the right fit, because a swimming pool constructor, the last thing he needs is a customer that has decided halfway through that they don't want to go through with it, right? And so, and one of the ways for them really to verify that this is the right fit is they'll turn around to their prospect and they'll tell him, listen, can I share with you why I think this is not going to be a good fit? And prospect would say why. He says, look, you're gonna have a hole in your garden. Your garden's gonna be dug up for about 4 months. You do realize you're gonna have a big, ugly hole in your garden for 4 months. maybe we shouldn't go through with this. And whenever and that would really test the belief of that customer towards if they really wanted the pool or not. And the constructor would do that because you would never want to sell a pool to someone that wasn't 100% convinced personally that that is the decision that they want to make. And so negative reverse selling, and you described it so well, it's not what you say, it's how you say it, but it's not a move.
No.
It's a genuine sales
Philosophy.
tactic, philosophy, that's the better word, to really verify the truth for everyone involved. The last thing we need is sell something that they don't need, don't want, and get seller's remorse. Forget buyer's remorse. We don't want seller's
See, the problem
remorse.
with that, the problem with that is Arizona's always hot, Florida's hot. That does not work with swimming pools in Arizona. It probably works in Florida. It just doesn't work with swimming pools in Arizona.
Fair enough.
That's
Fair
right
enough.
there. Now, you
No
brought up
take
something else.
No take it.
When you sense that there potentially could be some pushback from a prospect, we'll go back to the dumb word, objections. The simplest way to deal with it is you identify it, you as the salesperson put it on the table, and now the prospect has to deal with it. So when I tell you you probably shouldn't go through with this, there's got two options. I'm either going to be right or I'm going to get paid. And that's the beautiful outcome of negative reverse selling. When you put it on the table, tell them they don't need it, probably won't work, not the best fit, too much money. I'd stay away from money. I brought it up just to talk about it. Don't make this stuff about the money. The timing probably isn't right. I'm either going to be right with what I said, or they're going to tell me I'm wrong and I'm going to pay me. And both of those outcomes are positive. You cannot lose with that philosophy.
Yeah, I agree. That's awesome. Brad, what is your secret sauce for selling?
It would be that negative reverse selling. It's a different concept. It's
Really?
lived.
I can't imagine that would actually
When you
work.
wear a white t-shirt, it doesn't work. You have to have a collar on a white t-shirt. It's the only way to make that fit. Plus, your smile is too bright. Your teeth are too perfect. It will not work for you. You don't understand.
You're right. You're right. Awesome. I love it. Brad, is there any book, any podcast, play, even movie that you would recommend salespeople to listen to watch, just to give them a different angle on things, just to help them kind of, just so they can learn one little thing? Anything you've been exposed to recently that's kind of fun and different?
Recently, for maybe 10 or 15 years, because it works for management and it works for salespeople, and I wish it was on audio. I'm sorry it's not. Baseline Selling by Dave Curlin. Everything you know about the game of baseball converted into sales. So the sales process ends up being first base, second base, third base, home. Qualify the prospect. We go from suspect to prospect to qualified to closable based on the baselines, the running lines of a baseball diamond. And SOB, speed on the base paths, is the process by which you qualify or disqualify prospects. Once you're running for home, you're going to soar. You're going to score. You're going to be safe if you follow the steps along with it. And then there's a playbook for management to interject that into the selling world. And it fits very similar to the Sandler system because we qualify hard. And this helps you go to that different level of qualification. And if you qualify hard, closing's the easiest thing to do.
Oh, yeah. Totally. You qualify hard, you close easy. You qualify easy,
Then
it's
it's a
hard to
fight.
close.
And we're fighting, and I'm going to prove it to you. And how could you be so stupid? My solution's the right answer. Who sold who?
Doesn't work.
Remember, the person doing the talking is the person doing the buying. If it ends in a period,
Got it.
you're telling. If it ends in a question mark, you're selling.
Absolutely. Excellent. Brad, thank you so much. This has been amazing. You're awesome. So much knowledge and conviction. That's what's really that's what you're all about. It's that level of
Thank you.
conviction. And clearly, you've served so many sales professionals and leaders over the years, and you believe in everything that you say and you do with regards to what works and what doesn't. So thank you very much for sharing your wisdom. I
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
the opportunity to talk to your audience.
And to the listeners and viewers, thanks so much. Be good to yourselves, be good to your prospects, do everything for the right reasons. No guts, no gain. Good selling. I'll see you next time.
Peace.